Hi everyone, this is Lydia with Printable Perfection. Today we're going to be making a crossword puzzle for kids. Okay, or you could adapt it and make it harder if you wanted to do one for adults, but we're going to be learning how to make crossword puzzles. And we're going to be doing this with Microsoft Publisher. So the first thing we got to do is open up Publisher and get a fresh document. All right, so here's my document. I'm ready to start plugging in my stuff. The first thing you need is a theme, a topic. What is your puzzle going to be about? If you're a teacher, this would be a great way to review information that your kids have been learning in class. If you're a parent, you may want to pick just a fun topic that your kids are interested in to generate a puzzle. But we're going to go up here to draw text box. I'm going to come up here to this corner and make a text box that goes all the way across my page. And I like to use these blue guidelines. If I drag it and you see those extra lines appear at the top corner, that means you're lined up with the margins. And I just like to do that because I like everything to be centered, and that shows me that I'm lined up with both the top and each side margin. Okay, so I'm going to click inside my text box. I'm going to pick a different font because if you're using this for commercial use, if you're going to sell your products, you have to make sure that you're using a commercial use font. If you're just doing it for personal or classroom use, it really doesn't matter. But I like to do things to sell. So I'm going to go down here. I know Bubblegum Sans is a commercial use font. It's one that I've downloaded. If you need more information about how to find fonts for commercial use, I have a video showing how to do that. But Bubblegum is one that I've downloaded. I know it's good to use. So I'm going to switch to that. I'm going to make my text bigger because I want it to be seen. And then I like to center my stuff right in the middle. These buttons here show you where your text is going to be oriented within your text box. So I'm going to put it right in the middle. Okay, so whatever the title of your crossword search goes here, mine is going to be about Bible characters. Okay, so there's my title. The next thing we need are clues, right? Now you can write your own clues, but if you're having trouble with that, I also have a video showing how to use Chat GTP to generate crossword clues for you. And that's what I've actually done. I went onto Chat GTP. I said, give me some crossword clues about Bible characters. And I copied those and put them into a document. So here are my clues that Chat GTP generated for me. So I'm going to copy those because I want to paste them onto my publisher document. So I'm going to go back to publisher. Now, one really cool feature about publisher is that all of this gray space, it's like as a workspace where you can put things, but they won't show up on your final document. So if I draw a text box over here, I can paste my clues there so that I can see them, but they will not print. That's just for my personal use. So I'm going to make those bigger so that I can actually read them. And I'm not going to worry about the font on those because that's not going to be printed. It's just for my use. So I'm not going to change the font. I'm just want to be able to see it. So I'm going to get my box big enough where I can see everything. Okay. So what we need to do is start putting in our answers. I like to start with the answers because you're going to have to fit them all together so that they overlap. And it may be that some of the words won't fit and I can't use that clue or I'm going to need to change it. So we're going to start actually by plugging in our answers and then we'll go back and format the clue section. On Publisher, I like to use a table. So I'm going to go to Insert Table. Now, by default, it will only let you do a 10 by 8. So we're going to start with that. You see it extends out beyond my page. That's okay. I'll fix that in a minute. I'm going to put it right up under my title. And then I'm going to go over here to the side, or let's go up here to width. And I'm going to shrink it down till it fits in my page. But that's not going to be big enough. I think I'm going to need a bigger table. I actually think I'll do 15 across. That was 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I'm going to make it fit within my space. The width between these two blue lines is 7.5. So I'll make it 7.5 wide. But I also need it longer. be sure I can fit in all my words. So I'm going to go below, and it was 8. Let's try 15 as well. So that was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I do the insert below, and that gives me a grid of 15 by 15. Now this grid will not show up when you print. We're just going to make the boxes to write the words in using this grid. So now we're going to start getting our clues, fitting them in, and seeing what we're going to use. Okay, so I am going to pick, I usually like to start with one of the longer words to be my starting point because you're going to need quite a few letters to play off of. Let's try Daniel. I'm just going to go over here and just pick a spot. We'll start at about here. Um, I will format this a little bit. It doesn't need to be really formatted because it's not going to show. The words you print in are not going to show unless you do it as an answer sheet. But I want to be able to see it, right? So I'm going to need to make it big enough to see. So let's try 14, and I centered it so I can see it. So I'm going to start here. And I'm going to make it caps lock, and I'm just going to put in each box a letter. Okay, Daniel. So that's going to be one of my across clues. Then do I have a word with L? I've got Lot's wife. So let's go down, and I see already I'm going to run out of space. So what I'm going to do is highlight Daniel and click Control X. I'm going to go up a few, hit Control V, and it pastes it up there. So it gives me more room to make my Lot's wife one. And this sometimes takes a little bit of configuration, right? It doesn't always work the first time. So Daniel, my clue down is Lot's wife. Um, I can use this D to put the word Adam. So I can do A, D, A, M. Do I have one? I've got an M. Let's see. So you just got to play with a little bit. I can put Mary right here because that will fit. Okay. Off of, let's see, maybe pick one of these letters to play off of. Samson can go off of this A. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to do about 10 or 12. I want it to be enough to really give them several clues. So Esther can go off of the E. Or let's pick one where let's do like Moses. So I've got my M here. M-O-S-E. Moses, and the next letter. So you see how I'm just filling in all of my words. So I'm going to pause and finish figuring this out, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, I have all of my words filled in, all but one I was able to use. Over here, I highlighted the ones I used in red so that I could see what I had left. And as you see, there was only one that I didn't use, but it was actually a duplicate answer. So that's okay. I fit in 14 of my clues. And I've had to move a few around, I could, to make them all fit. Sometimes you have to erase one, put a new word there, move them around. Just make them fit the best that you can. But there we go. I've got my answers filled in. Now the other thing I did was I actually made my font bigger. I went up to about a 22 font, and it actually made my puzzle longer, my grid. The reason I did that is because you have to make sure the squares are big enough to write in. And I was concerned that kids, especially, would not be able to write small enough at the font size that I had. So I made it a 22 font. Again, that won't matter as far as seeing the letters, but it made my boxes bigger, and you'll understand why that's important in a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to actually do now is go through each one where there's words. I'm going to highlight all the boxes that have letters. I'm going to go up here to table design. Here, it's where I can make borders around my boxes. I'm going to make my line size a little bit bigger. I'm going to make it black. And then I'm going to click on borders and I'm going to do all borders. And so what that does is put boxes around that word. And that's what the kids are going to write in. We're going to delete the letters and they're going to write in those boxes. So I'm going to go each one. Now that I've formatted it once, I can just click it and it will do that for everything. So I don't have to redo the size and the color. I can just click that and put boxes around every word that I have. And then again, as I said, we'll go back and we'll delete the letters. Okay, this is, making some of these puzzles can be a little tedious, but once you get the hang of it, you can kind of do it fairly quickly. Okay, we're getting there. So let me know in the comments below, what topics are you going to be making crossword puzzles about? And how will you be using them? Are you going to use them for your classroom, for your kids? I would love to know how you're going to take this and actually apply it. All right, there. So I've got all of my boxes. Now I notice up here at the top, I've got an entire row where there's no letters. So I'm actually going to delete that so it'll make my grid smaller. I'm going to go to layout up here and delete. And that is a row. Rows run across, columns are up and down. So that actually gives me a little bit more space down here because this is where the clues are going to go. Okay, now we have to go back and, okay, I noticed this one did not do one on the top for some reason. So I'm going to go back into this one, go back to table design, click that again, and there's my top line. There we go. Okay, so what we need to do now is start getting our clues put in and numbering our boxes. So I'm going to make another text box down at the bottom so I can put in my clues. This one I'm going to format. We'll use the bubble gum again because that was the font I used at the top. And I think we'll make it 12. That's big enough to see, but still not be too big to give me room, or too big to take up all the room. So we've got some clues that are across and some that are down. Now, I'm actually going to make two boxes, one for each, so that I can format it. So we'll make this the across box, and then I'm going to copy it, highlight it, do Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and I'm going to put it over here. Now they're a little bit too big, so I'm going to make them smaller so that they don't overlap. Okay, see now they're the exact same size. And then this is going to be, I'm going to zoom in so we can see this a little better, my down clues. Okay, so I've got my across clues are going to go in this box, my down clues are going to go over here. You ever have one of those days? Okay, there we go. So you try and it just doesn't work. Okay, so what I'm going to start doing is first we're going across. So the first across clue I've got is right here. The answer is Daniel. So I'm going to do one, number it number one, and then look over to the side, and my clue for Daniel is right here. He was thrown into the lion's den. So what I'm going to type here is just the clue. He was thrown into the lions. We'll make plural lions den. And then they would fill in the answer there for Daniel. Okay, the next one I have across, we'll go over here to Noah. Let that one be number two. Noah is, where did he go? He's right here. He built an ark to survive the flood. Okay, that's Noah. And again, you may want to zoom in so you can actually see what you're typing. And then you would do the same for down. So for example, my first one down will let be David. And you can kind of number these however you want. I mean, Jonah could have been one, David could have been two, but I chose to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'll do, however. Just make sure each of them get a number. So David will be my first one. So I'm going to do 1. He killed Goliath with a sling. That's David. Okay, so I'm going to pause it again. I'll go fill in all my clues. Right, as you can see down here at the bottom, I've got all of my clues filled in. Now, I had more down than I did across, so I had to increase the size of my text box, and it's still kind of tight. So I'm actually going to go and highlight all of that. If you come up here to this one, it's line spacing. I'm going to go down to 1, and then I'm going to do the same to this one just so it's the same. I like all of my things to be formatted exactly the same. And then I will make sure that my tops of my text box are even so that it just looks better to me. I'm going to see if I can actually even increase the size of my text. I don't know, it may make it too big for my space. That should work. There. So I've got my across clues, my down clues, all filled in. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to start putting in the numbers. Okay, so to do the numbers, what I'm going to do is in each box where one word starts, I'm going to put in the right number. So my number 1 across goes here. And one thing I didn't mention when we were putting in the words, you need to make sure that the numbers, if you've got 2 words that start from the same box, that they are the same number. So for example, Daniel is 1 across, David should be 1 down. That way you can just use one number. Okay, so Daniel is 1 across. Noah is going to be 2. Samson is 3. Adam is 4. And if you need to rearrange any of these as far as down here, like as you're numbering, you can easily go through and renumber them. Like here, Moses and Mary, I had to move my Mary clue up so that number 5 could go in this box. Eve, and don't worry that it's messed up my spacing. I'm going to fix that in just a minute. Eve is number 8. Peter is number 6. So you just go through and do this for everyone. Now what I'm going to do is just go through and delete all the letters. So I want the D gone, and then I can just highlight all of these, whatever it takes, just get rid of all oh, I don't have Lot's wife. I don't have a number in the Lot's wife box. If you hit backspace, it only does one letter. If you hit delete, it deletes them all. Okay, just a clue there. So there's the 3. I need the J. Okay. So again, this is one of the tedious parts, but we'll get it done in a minute. Okay, I finally got them all done. So now you see I just have them left with my numbers. So we are actually going to format the numbers. We don't, if I left it like this, it would take up the entire box and they wouldn't be able to write a letter in that box. So we're going to go through and we're actually going to make them smaller. So I'm going to highlight my 1. We're going to start with that one. Before I do that, actually, here's what we're going to do. This is a trick that'll make it a lot easier. I'm going to go up in my top corner. I'm going to hit Control A and then Control A again so it highlights my entire table. I'm going to go to Layout and I'm going to do upper left corner, this one right here. That way I don't have to do that for each number. It's already done. And then I'm going to go home and I'm going to hit the superscript button. And that's going to put all of my numbers up in the left corner. It's going to make them a lot smaller. So that gives me room in my box to write. I still want them to be a little bit smaller though. I'm not going to format the font on the font size on the entire table because that'll make my squares smaller. So for this one, I do need to highlight each one and I'm going to make it 14. As you can see, that makes it small enough that you can see it but it's not going to get in the way of the text, of them being able to write in it. Okay, it'd be a lot easier if I could do it all at once, like I did everything else. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Um, but this will make sure that my squares stay the size I want them, and yet it will make my font smaller. So once you do that, you are done. You've got your clues, you've got your boxes, and then you have the numbers that they can follow, and they're ready to print and let your kids have fun with them. So again, tell me in the comments, how are you going to use this? I really would love to know. And let me know also, are there other projects that you would like to see done? Would you like to learn how to make anything else in particular? And I can help you with that. Okay, so there we go. There's the final product. You should be able then to fill in all the clues. Let me back out a little bit so you can see it. Now, one thing to notice, like here you can see the grid lines. When you print it, that won't be visible. In fact, I can even go into my table, and over here, if I go to layout, view grid lines, I can turn that off. And so now you're going to see this is what it would look like as it prints. You won't see the grid lines. All you'll see are the outlines of your boxes. If you wanted to, you could add pictures, you could add some embellishments. I'm not going to, I'm just going to leave it like this. If you liked this video, please click the like button. And if you would subscribe to my channel, then you will find out more ways that you can make your printables perfection. Thank you.